Hi everyone, my name is Envy from envytheinsane.com. I'm on my monk continuing my quest to solo all of the hard mode achievements in 10-man Ulduar. In this video I will be talking about the keepers of Ulduar, Hodir, Thorim, Freya, and Mimiron. One thing I would like to point out before I get started on these bosses is I did recently transfer my monk to a new account. So when I'm going through my achievements, you will now see achievements that only my monk truly has, and these are no longer checked off from other characters that are on the account. But other than that, everything remains the same, and we'll get started on soloing some bosses, okay? For Hodir, the achievement that I need to get is, I could say that this cache was rare, which is to kill him before he jumps over and destroys his rare loot cache over here. So it's not really clear from the achievement, but that is a 3-minute timer. So this is basically just a burn achievement. Just kill him in less than 3 minutes and you get it. So that should be pretty easy in my Windwalker spec. For other achievements that you can get off of Hodir, you have Cheese the Freeze, which is to not let any raid members get hit by the Flash Freeze ability. So I should get that. Flash Freeze is basically this long cast that he'll do, and about halfway through it some snow will fall from the ceiling that you can stand on. If you're not standing on the snow, you'll basically get turned into one of these little icicles like these guys are out here. So the only way to get broken out of those is if another player actually comes and breaks the ice. So I will definitely be getting that achievement, because if I get hit by it, it's a wipe because I'm solo. So let's see, getting cold in here. So don't let any raid member have more than 2 stacks of Biting Cold. Biting Cold is a debuff that he puts on you throughout the fight that will do a little bit of damage. You can keep the stacks low by continually moving or jumping. And also the extra little guys out here, if you break them out, one of them will lay down a campfire that you can stand near, and that'll keep the stacks off. So I'll see how quickly I can break them out. If I can just do a spinning crane kick and break them out, then I'll do that. If it takes longer, then I'll probably just pass, because they will help DPS the boss, but it's not enough of an extra help. It would be just a waste of time for me to spend 30 seconds breaking them all out. So I may or may not get that achievement. And then this is the Glory achievement. I have the coolest friends. Don't let any of the NPCs die. I think I have to break them all out for that. They'll start to lose their health if I leave them in there. So again, I may or may not get that. And then there's also one other achievement that's not listed on here for some reason, and it's called Staying Buffed All Winter Long, which is to have all of the buffs that each of these guys give all at the same time. So they'll each give their own unique buff, and if you have them all at the same time, then you get the achievement. It's a personal achievement. If you're in a group, it's not based on everybody else having all the same buffs at the same time. It's just if you personally get it. So I will not be getting that achievement. Alright, so like I said, this should be a pretty simple fight. I pretty much went over all the mechanics. You know, Flash Freeze is the biggest thing to watch out for. The other thing will be just kind of icicles and stuff falling from the ceiling throughout the fight, but they're very clearly marked on the ground, so it should be simple enough to just move and stay out of them. And I don't anticipate this being much of a problem healing through. I was able to solo this fight on my rogue, so yeah, it should be pretty simple. Okay, let's get started with that then. Alright, so I'm gonna run in here, see if I can break these guys out real quick. I got like 2 of them. I'm not really gonna bother. I'm just gonna blow all my cooldowns, and I'm just gonna burn him. So you can see the circles on the ground indicate the falling icicles. He does root. I forgot about that. So he'll try to root me in place and keep me there. And I don't know, they don't do a whole lot of damage, so it's not a big deal if you get stuck there and you get hit by 1 or 2 of them. I'm just doing my best to stay out of it and just avoid as much damage as I can, but it's not a whole lot to worry about. And you can see that I do have the debuff in the corner every once in a while. That's for the biting cold. Oh, I guess I do have a couple of campfires right here that I'm staying near, so... Okay, so here's Flash Freeze. I'm gonna get away from him. So the big circle indicates where the snow is gonna fall. Just move out of the way so you don't get hit by it, and then move back on top of it before he's done casting. And simple enough. So he refreezed some of the NPCs that I broke out. But I don't know, like I said, they're level 80. They're not really contributing that much to the fight. So I'm not gonna worry about re-breaking them out or anything. And I have the achievement being tracked up in my corner, but because it doesn't say exactly on the achievement that it requires it to be done in 3 minutes, that it's not really properly tracking it. So it's not really being very helpful. But it's very clear when he jumps over, he'll actually literally jump over and he'll shatter this ice cache that's over here. So, anyway, I could say that this cache was rare, and then cheese the freeze. There we go. Pretty simple. For Thorim, the achievement that I need to get is Lose Your Illusion, which is basically to defeat him while Sif, his wife, quote-unquote, is still present. This is another one of those achievements that's not really clear from reading it, but again, it's 3 minutes. So within 3 minutes of initiating the fight, you have to defeat him in order to get this achievement. So it's going to be a little bit different soloing it, and I guess I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but let me kind of describe how the fight is supposed to be done. So basically we've got Thorim up here, and he's got some kind of gladiator thing going on with all these people fighting this huge worm thing, and you go in there and you kill them, and he gets upset at you for messing up his game. And so that kind of initiates the fight. At that point you can pull this little lever over here and then go through a tunnel which will take you up to where Thorim is. And once you get up there to him, it will force him to jump down and actually start the fight. So it's kind of supposed to be done in a 2-phase fight. Phase 1, after you kill all these guys, you're supposed to have some people stay out here in the arena, and they'll just pick up some little ads that are spawning, and then there's supposed to be a group of people that goes through the tunnel and gets to Thorim, and there's some more ads that are in the tunnel to kill. And then that's phase 1, and then phase 2 will initiate once you reach him and he jumps down. And then, so from there it's a pretty simple fight. I mean, he does a couple of different lightning abilities. If you reach him within 3 minutes of starting the fight, then Sif will join in also. And she will do some other lightning abilities, and it's just kind of extra damage to go around. I don't anticipate that it'll be a whole lot. So that's the way the fight is done if you're in a group of people. The fight is intentionally made to be, I guess, it's supposed to be unsoloable. They try to do that by basically, if there's nobody out here in the arena to pick up the ads that are spawning, then it will cause a giant lightning ball to come and sweep through the tunnel and kill anybody that's inside. So that's their attempt to make this unsoloable. It is soloable by certain classes, including monks, hunters, mages can probably do it, Death Knight. So I'll discuss how I'm going to go about soloing it in the actual fight itself. But my video will end up being longer than 3 minutes because I'm basically going to kind of reset the fight, and it won't start until I'm pretty much already up there. And like I said, I'll discuss that more. So that's the fight and how it's supposed to be done, and if you're in a group of people, that's how you'll do it. Let's go over the other achievements that he has real quick. So, don't stand in the lightning. Basically, throughout the fight, he will cast this lightning charge ability at one of these pillars. So there's 4, or no, actually, I don't know, there's a couple around the room, but these little, like, orb things. He'll cast it at one of these things, and then if anybody's in the way or facing, or, you know, in between him and the pillar, they will get hit by the ability. So the achievement is to not let anybody get hit by that. The easiest way to do that is to tank him just inside the tunnel here and have everybody inside there after he jumps down, and then every time he casts it, he'll be forced to turn around into the room and cast it at one of these things, and nobody will be out there to get hit by it. That's the easiest way to do the achievement. I'll Take You All On is earned by defeating him, an ancient rune giant, and a runic colossus, which are all inside the tunnel. So I will be showing you those during the fight, and that is an achievement that I will be earning. Lose Your Illusion, that's the glory achievement. Sift is earned by forcing Sif to enter the arena. So there seems to be very little distinction between these two achievements, but this basically is to defeat Thorim while Sif is still present. This is to simply cause him to enter the arena or to do phase 2 while Sif is still present. So again, that's another one that I will be getting, and anybody who does the Lose Your Illusion achievement, you will be getting the Sift achievement as well. And then lastly, we have Who Needs Bloodlust, which this one is a little bit more complicated. It requires you to have a priest that can mind control one of the dwarves that comes out. So while the tunnel team is going through, there will be different dwarves that spawn out here, and one of them casts this Aura of Celerity ability. And if you hold off on killing that and basically keep it and then mind control it, at the end of the fight, you'll earn this achievement. So that one unfortunately does require a priest. So those are all the achievements and everything. I will, like I said, go into more detail about the mechanics of soloing the fight coming up here. Alright, so I'm going to come in here, pull these guys. Once they're dead, that starts the fight, and Thorim will start talking. So as saying before, you know, this fight's really not meant to be soloable. It's only soloable through performing a very specific sequence of actions. So only classes that can do that will be able to solo the fight. So I'm going to be specifically talking about what to do as a monk, but other classes will need to just be able to do very similar things to perform the same sequence. Alright, so pull the lever here, open the gate, come in here, and right around the corner I'm going to place my Transcendence so I can get back in once the gate is closed. And now I'm just going to aggro this big guy, and we got to get out of the tunnel before the lightning ball comes and kills me. So just run. And this is really the most difficult part right here. Monks have quite a decent amount of movement increasing abilities, so it's probably the easiest as a monk. Other classes might need like rocket boots from engineering or something like that. Okay, so this guy's attacking me. We're just kind of waiting for the middle guys to respawn here. There we go. So aggro them, but don't kill them. Pick them up, and we're going to get back through the tunnel using my Transcendence Transfer. There we go. And now we can start killing these guys inside the tunnel. So again, don't kill the middle guys that were out in the center, because they will initiate the fight again and cause the lightning ball to come back. You need to kill the big Colossus to open the first door here. And then the second guy here. To open the second door. There we go. Okay, come in here. You can't get too close to Thorim at this point because it will bug out the fight, because technically the fight hasn't started yet. So we're gonna kill these guys to reinitiate the fight and get him to say his little speech. Okay. So don't get too close to him, but as soon as Sif starts talking, I need to run up and attack him. And it's really a close call of timing. So attack him, and then jump down. There we go. And there we go. That's the hard part. Now it's pretty much just kill him in 3 minutes. So I got Sift there, because we did it in less than 3 minutes. And we're just going to burn him. And so you can see that he really doesn't do a whole lot of damage, even as hard mode. So it's not too difficult to do as a Windwalker. It's really just all about being able to perform those sequence of actions. Where you need to be able to get into the tunnel, pull the Colossus, come back out before the lightning ball kills you, and then you know, aggro the things in the middle and somehow get back in the tunnel. If you can do all that, then it's an easy fight and an easy achievement to solo. There we go. Don't stand in the lightning. Somehow I got that. I was sure that I missed that one. Lose your illusion, that's the important one. And then I'll take you all on was the other one that I said you get for killing all the Colossus guys in the tunnel. So, like I said, it's probably easiest as a monk because we've got the flying serpent kick and we've got roll, and if you spec correctly, you can do 3 rolls in a row. Other classes, that's the most difficult part, is getting out of the tunnel before the lightning ball comes and kills you, because it's really close. And so I've seen a lot of the videos that I've seen online are with people doing it as engineers with the rocket boots. So, all right, that is the achievement. Next up is Freya. For Freya, the achievement that I need to get is knock 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 on wood, which is basically to kill her or defeat her when leaving all 3 of the elders alive. So this achievement is very much like the Flame Leviathan achievement with the towers. Basically each of the elders that you leave alive will give her extra buffs and extra abilities. So there's 3 of them. One of them is right here near the entrance. One of them is kind of in the back here, you can kind of see him back there, and then the other one is in this purple area back there. So leaving all 3 of them up will essentially equate to her and all of her allies doing overall 50% more damage. They have more health, and I think they take more healing. So let me go over the fight mechanics real quick, because Freya can be a little bit complicated if you don't have a full group. And so basically, Freya starts out, you've got Phase 1 and Phase 2. Phase 1, Freya will have 150 stacks of a buff called Attuned to Nature. Attuned to Nature makes her take 8% more healing per stack. So 150 stacks is basically 12 times more healing. So she's constantly casting a heal on herself, which will heal for a base amount of 6,000 health per second, and then times the 150 stacks of Attuned to Nature, it adds up to about 72,000 health per second. So soloing it will be pretty difficult to out DPS her healing, The way the fight is meant to be done is basically to ignore Freya in phase 1, and she'll be calling out these different allies to come out and attack you. So there's 3 different sets of allies, and they'll each come out twice. And each time you kill them, they will remove some of her stacks of Attuned to Nature. And by the time you're done killing all 6 sets of the allies, she'll be down to 0 stacks, and you just have to out DPS the base heal of 6,000 health per second, which should be easy at 90. So the ads that you'll see are the detonating lashers, which is just a bunch of the little flower guys. Like, let's see, I think they're all gone here, but like these guys that are kind of walking around back here. So a bunch of those little guys will come out, and they explode and deal some damage when they die. So they don't have a whole lot of health, but you need to be careful in AoEing them down. You don't want to accidentally kill yourself with them all exploding at the same time. Alright, next you'll see the Storm Lasher, Snap Lasher, and Ancient Water Spirit, which are just 3 little things will come out. Like, one is a water elemental and the other 2 are like bigger of the flower lasher guys. So they essentially just need to die within a couple of seconds of each other. Otherwise they'll resurrect at full health and you need to kill them again. So that's not too difficult. Lastly, you'll see the Ancient Conservator, which is just a big tree guy. He kind of looks like one of the elders. He comes out, and he does kind of he has this kind of mass effect on everybody. Pretty much all of your abilities are unusable unless you're standing underneath one of the mushrooms. So mushrooms will sprout up during that phase, and you basically just take him and tank him underneath one of the mushrooms, and that blocks you from his disabling ability. You can just kill him. It's very simple from there. So, like I said, you'll see each of those 2 times, sorry. There's 3 different ads. You see them each 2 times, and you can get them in any order. But once you've had 6 sets of these ads, then Freya will be at 0 stacks of Attuned to Nature, and it goes into phase 2 where you can basically just kill her. So, you know, leaving the elders up will give her some extra abilities where she can, like, root you, and she's got kind of like a Moonfire kind of ability. I don't anticipate that it'll be too much damage, so it shouldn't be a big deal. You know, it's pretty much just getting past all the ads. If you can get to phase 2, it should be easy from there. The only other thing really to take note of is during the fight is these little green trees that will sprout up around the place called Eonor's Gift, and those will also do some healing to Freya. So you need to just make sure you go over and kill them. They don't have very much health. You can probably 2-shot them, so just make your way over there and kill them whenever they sprout up. And I believe DBM, if you've got the Wrath of the Lich King DBM set up, then that'll announce it whenever it sprouts. Okay, so that's the fights. Let's go over the other achievements that Freya has. So Conspiratory is basically to defeat Freya within 20 minutes of coming in here and killing the first trash. I probably won't get that because I've been talking for a while already, but I might. And that should be pretty easy if you know what you're doing and if you know the fight. If you come in here with a couple of people especially, you could probably ignore the ads in phase 1 and pretty much just out DPS Freya's healing. So that should be easy with a couple of people. Getting back to nature, leave 25 stacks of Attuned to Nature on Freya, so that essentially means to not kill some of the ads that come out. The detonating lashers, I think that those only add up to 20 stacks of the Attuned to Nature. So it would be best to either leave up the Ancient Conservator or the 3, the Storm Lasher, Snap Lasher, and the Ancient Water Spirit. So I personally think that the Conservator would be the easiest because it's just one extra thing that you have to deal with, and the Ancient Water Spirit, when that's out, it kind of knocks you around, and that can get annoying. So, you know, I would say personally for that, just leave the Conservator up, and all you need to do is tank her under a mushroom, and that's easy. And then, so knock, knock, knock on wood is the achievement for glory, but that'll also come with knock on wood and knock on wood, which is just for leaving 1 and 2 elders up. So you get both of those. And then I think that there is actually 2 other achievements that are not showing up in here. There's Lumberjacked, which is to kill the elders, kill all 3 of the elders within 15 seconds of each other. Obviously you can't do that at the same time as doing the hard mode achievement with leaving the elders alive. But, you know, if that's an achievement you want to come in here and do, you can basically just go and pick all of them up and DPS them down at the same rate and kill them together like that. And then the other one is to kill 2 sets of the Stormlasher, Snaplasher, and Ancient Water Spirit within, again, like 12 or 15 seconds of each other. And so for that you need to leave the first set up and basically just kind of deal with them knocking you around. And then until the second set comes out, and then you need to kill them all together. So those are the achievements on Freya. I'm only going to be going for the hard mode achievement, and that'll come with these other 2, like I said. I don't know, I highly doubt that, I'm not going to try to make it more complicated and leave any of them up, so I'm probably not going to get any of these other achievements. So, but that's Freya, so I will go ahead and pull her and we'll give this a shot. Alright, I'll run in here and grab Freya. And I'm doing this in my Brewmaster spec, by the way, just because it'll give me a little bit more flexibility with my healing. I was finding that the Stormlasher, the Snaplasher, and Ancient Water Spirit do quite a bit of damage, so... Alright, so we have the detonating lashers here. They go down pretty quickly with the spinning crane kick, and you can see that they do explode and deal a decent amount of damage. Heal back up. And that took Freya down to 130 stacks of Attuned to Nature right there, just killing them. Okay, Ancient Conservator. You can see he silences, all my abilities are unavailable. So just go under one of these mushrooms, and then easy, normal, you can just kill him there, like that. Okay. Alright. So, Stormlasher, Snaplasher, Ancient Water Spirit, these guys need to die within a couple of seconds of each other. I'm gonna see if I can kind of just AoE them down and get them down pretty close to each other. And you can see the Water Spirit does that kind of annoying charge type of thing. So that's where a decent amount of damage comes from. Just knocks you around and sends you flying. So, but got them all down within a couple seconds, so that's good. There we go, Ancient Conservator again. Stand under one of these mushrooms. You can see Eonor's gift in the background over here. Let's see if we can kill that real quick. There we go. You know, that's not a huge deal in the first phase when you're kind of ignoring Freya, but in the second phase when you're trying to kill her, definitely want to make sure you get those down because they will heal her. Okay, Snaplasher, Stormlasher, Ancient Water Spirit again. Go. Eonor's gift. And we should just have one more let's see, set of the lashers, maybe? Yep, there we go, the detonating lashers. So we'll kill those off real quick, and then that will leave Freya with none of the attuned to nature left. There we go. And now we can just kill her. So not too difficult. You know, I did it in my Brewmaster spec. I probably could have gotten it in my Windwalker spec, but it would have been a little bit more difficult to keep up with all the damage that was going on. So I just decided to do it the easy way here. You can see she is still healing a little bit. It's only the base 6,000 damage per second, unless you leave one of those Eonor's gifts up. But we're getting her down. Oh, tried to root me there. I do wish that the Brewmaster spec had some kind of, like, DPS cooldown. I know that, you know, it's meant for tanking and stuff, but it'd be really nice to be able to pop something to do a bunch of extra damage all of a sudden, you know. I guess I could do, like, the Tiger if I spec'd into it. Throwing these little root things on the ground here, trying to get me. Oh, there we go. So, knock on wood, knock on wood, and knock on wood for all three of the elders being left up. Not too difficult. You know, the biggest thing I noticed was the Stormlasher, Snaplasher, and Ancient Water Spirit. Those three knocking you around and hitting you was doing a decent amount of damage to me. But other than that, you know, really not too bad. So, next up is Mimiron. For Mimiron, the achievement that I need is Firefighter, which is to defeat him after initiating the self-destruct sequence. So in the back of the room there's this big red button here that says do not push this button. You go back there, push it, and you start to self-destruct, which is about 10 minutes. So that's basically your hard and rage timer. After 10 minutes everything explodes and you all die. I don't think that that will be too much of a problem. It shouldn't take 10 minutes, but it also does make the fight quite a bit more chaotic, and adds to an already complicated fight. So the way that this will go is we got Mimiron here, and he basically decides to test out all of his weapons of war on you and your party. So it'll start out with the Leviathan, which will throw out proximity mines. They're kind of just little mines that appear like in a little bit of a circle around the Leviathan, and there will be just little sections where you can walk through to get out, but if anyone steps on them they explode and deal AoE damage. And then the other thing is Shock Blast, which is like a cast time, and if you're standing within 15 yards of the Leviathan when that goes off, it'll deal about 100,000 damage. So that still hits decently hard, and you basically just want to run away from him when he starts casting that, and then go back after it's done. Once you defeat the Leviathan, Mimiron will pull out his anti-personnel assault cannon, which is basically just a cannon that kind of sits stationary in the middle of the room here. It'll pretty much pick random party members to target and start firing like little cannonballs at them. And then intermittently throughout the fight, it'll start doing this ability called spinning up, where it'll basically just kind of rotate around in a circle and do this constant firing of little like laser beams or whatever the heck it is. So you don't want to stand in front of it. Soloing it will be difficult to avoid all of that damage, but you know, just kind of continue moving behind it, and especially when it's doing the spinning up, that's not targeting a specific person, so that just pretty much goes in a circle around the room and you just keep moving to stay behind it. The other big thing on the assault cannon is kind of a little rocket that will come up and land on random players, and that will do a decent amount of damage. You can see where it's going to be landing by kind of a little red circle that's marked on the ground, so that's important to just move out of. You know, easy to avoid, easy to see. After you defeat the assault cannon, he'll pull out his aerial command unit, which is like a little helicopter. It'll be kind of flying up in the air. It's only reachable by ranged attacks. Melee cannot reach it. So I will be pretty much purely killing that with my crackling jade lightning. And so while that's kind of floating around up there, it'll be dropping different kinds of bots to come and attack you. We've got like assault bots and bomb bots that will drop down. And so I'll let a couple of those gather up on me, AoE them down real quick, and then go back to killing the aerial command unit. So once you defeat that, he basically pulls out all three and kind of combines them together into this big Voltron type of thing. And they have all the same abilities as before. And that's where it gets really complicated in Phase 4, because you've got the proximity mines that you need to watch out for, you've got the shock blast you need to watch out for, you've got the little cannons and the different bots. So it just really, Phase 4 becomes very chaotic, and it becomes a lot to watch out for. I did solo this on normal mode on my rogue, but it took me a really long time to get past Phase 4, just because you pretty much have to be aware of every little thing that's going on, and be ready to move, and if you miss one thing, it's pretty much a wipe, because, well, especially as a rogue, you've only got so much healing that you can do. You know, I'm hoping it'll be a little bit easier as a monk because I've got more flexible heals, but still, you know, each of those abilities does quite a significant amount of damage, so just standing there and letting yourself get hit by them is not a good plan. You need to be aware of everything that's going on and do your best to avoid as much damage as you can. Okay, so, and then, you know, doing it on hard mode and activating the self-destruct basically adds a lot of fire going on throughout all of that, so that's just more damage that you need to mitigate and avoid. And, you know, like I said, the way I explained the fight, that's normal mode. Hard mode is, you know, lots of fire and decreased cast times for casters, and you know, just a lot of chaos going on. So I'm sure this one will be fun. Okay, for the other achievements that you can get off of Mimiron, there's only 2 other ones. So not so friendly fire is to take one of the assault bots and make it get hit by the rocket strike. So assault bot is spawned by the aerial command unit, and the rocket strike is done by the anti-personnel assault cannon. So this achievement can only be earned in Phase 4. You basically need to get one of the tanks to pick up the assault bot, and if you all stack up, then you can control where the rocket strike will land. It'll, you know, and then everybody can move out of the way except for the one tank that's got the assault bot, and you can kill it with the rocket strike. Okay, and then set us up the bomb, defeat Mimiron without anyone getting hit by proximity mine, rocket strike, and bomb bot. So I will be doing my best to avoid all of this damage. I will probably get hit by a bomb bot because I'm the only one standing there, and they'll just come and attack me. But, you know, it's just best practice to try to avoid all this stuff as possible. And this achievement, it doesn't need to all be done in one raid lockout. It doesn't reset, so once you've got one of these checked off, then it's checked off forever. So you can do this over the course of time, and if nobody gets hit by a proximity mine one time, then that's checked off. Next time all you need to do is the rocket strike and the bomb bot. So yeah, that's nice. Okay, so those are the only 2 achievements other than the firefighter achievement that you can get off of Mimiron. Like I said, this is quite a chaotic fight, so I'm sure this one will be a lot of fun to get past. Alright, so let's get into it and give it a shot. So Mimiron took me a little while to master, and to my surprise, the 10-minute enrage timer was actually a little bit of a problem, and that pretty much just comes down to me being a melee and not really have any significant ranged attacks for the aerial command unit. I'll talk about that a little bit more when I get to that phase. So here's the Leviathan first off. It throws out its little proximity mines, and those are all around with little spaces to walk through. You just have to kind of be aware of where they're at. The Leviathan hits decently hard as well, so I had to use Chi Wave quite a bit. And Shock Blast definitely hits pretty hard. I used Touch of Karma so that I didn't have to run away and basically could just mitigate that damage, because like I was saying, this really comes down to being able to do a ton of DPS, or enough DPS to be able to do all this in the 10 minutes. I did hit the enrage timer several times on my attempts. So there's the Leviathan down. So you could consider it a good thing or a bad thing about this fight. Mimiron likes to talk a little bit in between each of his weapons and kind of explain the story, I guess, behind them. So there's a little bit of a transition in between each phase that can take, I don't know, 30 seconds on some of them. So that gives you time to heal up if you need to, but it's also time where your 10-minute clock is ticking. So it can be a good thing and a bad thing. There's nothing you can do to make Mimiron shut up and just speed up the fight, unfortunately. So, alright, the anti-personnel assault cannon. The initial little blasts right here don't do a whole lot of damage, so I didn't really bother trying to stay behind him. I was really more just trying to stay out of the fire. But I'll point out the rocket strike, which will come up here shortly. There we go. So an initial little rocket comes up basically to mark where the real rocket will land a couple seconds later. It's hard to see the marker on the floor with all the fire, but it will always land on top of a person. So if you're soloing it, you can guarantee it's on top of you, and you just need to move. Alright, so this is spinning up, and that also does hit for a decent amount if you're in front of it, but it's not targeting you specifically, or anybody specifically, so that's pretty easy to just stay behind it and stay out of the way. But if you are standing in front of it, that will knock you down pretty quickly. Okay, so here comes the aerial command unit. So I was saying before, this phase, this vehicle is only attackable through ranged attacks. It's not in melee range. So all I have is the Crackling Jade Lightning as a monk, and that can only do so much damage. Obviously, this would be much easier as some kind of ranged class. A warlock or a mage, I'm sure, would not have any trouble with this. But melee classes will. So what I did was I set a macro basically to target my focus and cast the Crackling Jade Lightning so that I wouldn't waste any time trying to target it, since it is kind of off the screen a little, and messing around with the camera angle is just wasting DPS time. I also glyphed for the Touch of Karma so that I could be able to put that on the aerial command unit. That increases the range of Touch of Karma by 20 yards. So I was able to do that a couple of times in the fight, and that helps it get burned down a little quicker. But otherwise it is very slow going with just the Crackling Jade Lightning. I basically have to manage all the little bots that are coming out and attacking me. So you see the assault bot, those have a decent amount of health, and they hit decently hard. The junk bots, I think they're called, yeah. Those die pretty quickly, but they add up. There's usually a couple of them for each assault bot. So having 3 or 4 of those guys sitting there hitting you can really start to bring you down. So I was using them to bounce my Chi Wave off, and I was using pretty much Chi Wave and Expel Harm on cooldown to keep me up. And you saw at the beginning of the fight that I put down some of my healing spears during the transition, just so that I could use those in the beginning. And then, it's pretty much from here, it's about I don't know, 4 to 5 minutes of just managing all these bots, killing them as quickly as possible, getting them out of the way as quickly as possible, so that I could just go back to using my Crackling Jade Lightning. And you can see, I mean, he goes down maybe like 2% for each entire cast of the Jade Lightning, so it definitely takes a while. I did try to glyph for Crackling Jade Lightning, but that doesn't appear to have done anything. The glyph is your target will take 25% more damage from Jade Lightning after it gets knocked back. Since it's a boss, they're not getting knocked back, and so they're not taking the extra 25% damage. So that didn't seem to do much, but I managed. I think I used Touch of Karma twice in this phase, and then once in the last phase to get it down, since it's so out of reach. There's not a whole lot else, and kind of burning them down slowly. The only other thing really to point out is there are some emergency fire bots walking around, and those are actually good. They don't attack you, they're just walking around putting out the fire. So if you can distinguish between those, avoid killing them if possible, because that's getting rid of damage that you would otherwise be taking, because the fire can fill up the room pretty quickly without those. So, you know, like, they don't follow you. The easiest thing I found is basically just to move out of the way so that you don't accidentally attack them with your AoE. And then the other robots that are bad are coming to get you, and they'll attack you. So, just staying away from the emergency fire bots as best as possible. So, yep, getting him down slowly but surely. Yeah, I really was surprised at how slowly he was going down, and that the enrage timer was really a problem. I had a lot of really close attempts where basically in the 4th phase it would, you know, I'd be pretty close to getting him down, probably have 2 of them dead and 1 of them at 30% or something like that, and then the enrage timer would go off. So it's all about just where else can you squeeze DPS in the other phases to get the transitioning going quicker, and you know, what can you do to get back on the aerial command unit quicker, and all of that stuff. So for phase 4, I think I forgot to mention in my initial explanation of the fight that the all 3 of the different pieces actually need to die within about 15 seconds of each other. If you kill one of them and the others, or any of the others, are still alive, it'll start automatically casting this ability called Self-Repair. And if that's allowed to complete, which takes about 15 seconds, then it will just reset back to 50%. So you need to kill them all within about 15 seconds in order to actually beat the fight. And you can see that this fight gets pretty chaotic. You know, we've got the proximity mines around. The cannon is getting ready to do the spinning up right now, which, like I said, hurts really bad. I died a couple times to that in this phase because I was standing in front of it on accident, and that about 2 shots you. There's the rocket strike there. The Leviathan still does the little lightning shock. So it is quite chaotic, and plus on top of that all the fire and everything. So my strategy was basically just to get the head down first, since that one is what takes the longest. I used my Touch of Karma again towards the beginning of the fight to help burn that down. And then whenever I started getting low on health, I would switch to one of the others, either the Leviathan or the cannon, and use my Chi Wave and, again, my Expel Harm pretty much on cooldown. I think I did use a healing potion at one point here too. It's just all about being aware of what's going on and where you need to stand, and you know, even if you have to walk through the fire to avoid the spinning up ability, you know, it's about what will cause the lesser damage of the 2. So, Shock Blast again. Okay, so we got the Leviathan and the cannon dead here, and now I'm just spamming Jade Lightning, and I did use my Touch of Karma again. I'm standing in the fire on purpose to kill that. So it was pretty close. I think there was about 30 seconds left on the enrage timer, so it's just about squeeze, squeeze, squeeze DPS. Alright, well, that's it for the Keepers of Ulduar. My last video for General Vezix and Yogg-Saron is up next.